Good franchises make good decisions. Bad franchises, well, quite obviously, make bad decisions. And then there's those franchises where you're just like, what the? Not going to do that kind of editing, not this early. But anyway, we have seen throughout the last number of weeks the coaching carousel run absolutely wild. Moves you didn't see coming, moves that you're like, okay, yeah, I saw that. And then moves where you're just like, what the hell is going on here? Well, I have enlisted a friend to help me break down the good, the bad, the ugly, and the Cowboys. Because that was worse than ugly. From Curious Sports Pulse. What's up, Gabe?
I would mostly say the ugly, very ugly. It's very rare where everyone in unison says, "What are you doing? Why?" And so this will be fun, Dylan. Thank you for having me.
Eh, the other people didn't pick up the phone, so, you know.
Valid.
So, I guess we'll just go in chronological order when it comes to the coaching hires. So, first, we got the news that you and I, both being Patriot fans, were quite delighted to see the linebacker legend Mike Vrabel putting on the headset for the New England Patriots. Um, what what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, to me, he was the number one head coaching candidate because he has proven experience as a head coach in let's be honest, less than ideal situation. I understand he had Henry at the time, but quarterback is the most important position. And that was a rough go. That was a rough quarterback room all the years he's been there. Then they still had, relative success. So to me, all along, he's who everyone's first phone call should have been. So when he fell to the Patriots, not only do you get the push? Do you get the bonus of the Patriots organization letting go of Gerard Mayo? But now you bring in someone competent, proven, and who should get things back in order. I think you're good at QB. You're bringing in Josh McDaniels again. Great offseason so far for New England.
Yeah, I mean, and you can tell by the coaches that come in and how long it takes for them to come in on how good of a situation it is. When you look at last year, the Patriots went through 37 and a half offensive coordinators before finally landing on Van Pelt. And so it was just like, this is not going to go well. And and very and I could tell by the opening press conference this was going to be ugly. And it wasn't quite as ugly as I thought it was, but it was ugly enough to force Kraft's hand into
Yes.
firing Gerard Mayo and and being able to acquire Mike Vrabel, who I think is the modern day version of Bill Belichick. There,
Oh, I like that.
I mean, he outsmarted Belichick in Foxborough. I mean, you don't get it doesn't get better than that. It doesn't.
I like that. But
Then
right, he was the number one coach. Oh, sorry, not didn't mean to interrupt. But
go.
right, he was the number one coach. He was the number one coach that everyone should have given the first phone call to. So the Patriots nailed it. There's no question about it in my mind.
Oh yeah, and and I am famously have been against Drake May, and you will probably never let me outlive that, and probably
Correct.
rightfully so. But but the main reason why I was not a fan of Drake Mayo was because of the situation he was put into. someone who was inconsistent in college goes to a bad coach, no weapons, bad line, and like there was no path for success. And well, he had some flashes of good, he had some flashes of rookie, and now you get one of the best offensive coordinators in the NFL coming in,
Right.
who is he's not going anywhere. He's going to retire as the Patriots offensive coordinator. No team's going to take another shot on Josh McDaniels. We've seen that experiment twice and it's gone down horribly. And so you have that stability, you have the genius, and then uh, on the defensive side, you still have Rabel, who's going to command the room, be the grown up, reestablish the Patriot way. Now, the next hire is was one that a lot of people are really liking, especially in the Windy City. Ben Johnson to the Bears. Your reaction?
Yeah, if Mike Vrabel was number one, which I think is accurate because of that proven experience, for sure Ben Johnson was number two. Now you have the question of can he make that leap from OC to head coach? But in terms of hot commodity, in terms of a person who you bring in who excites the fan base, for sure you have to feel good about what Chicago did here. Offensive side of the ball, help out Caleb Williams. And I think Caleb Williams, I thought he had a good rookie season. Not good in terms of what you want from an NFL quarterback if we're comparing him 1 through 32 from all the rest of the stars, but I thought he had a good rookie season. So this just gives him the best chance of success. And very quickly, I think now we're seeing more and more where if this doesn't work early, I think the Bears would be more willing and more inclined, unless it's a total disaster, off the field, like with the media, how the media was with Gerard Mayo, barring something very odd like that, I think if the Bears had to pick, I think they would go with Ben Johnson and giving him a little bit longer of a runway versus Caleb Williams. That's how strong I think this hire is. And then you ship out Caleb Williams to get what you get for him. So if it's going to work for Caleb Williams, a lot of people were making excuses for him, myself included. I'll admit this. I was saying, well, the O line, well, the weapons weren't what they thought they would be. Well, this, that, and the other. I think the Bears defense is still solid. So I think they'll be fine there. But for sure, Ben Johnson, if you're going to get the most squeeze out of this lemon, I think this was the right move for them.
I I was very high on Ben Johnson, and then I watched the a little bit of the opening day press conference. I saw some clips of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I see a lot of Josh McDaniels, Adam Gase style quirkiness. He did this whole like over to the left, and he's just like, I'm like, eh, eh. I know it was a weird attempt to be funny, but like I don't know, it gives me a little bit of a red flag. And then you look back at at what the Lions were doing, especially when they were in like a full blown panic mode in the playoff game, and they're doing quirky stuff. They're doing that pass with the wide receiver pass, and it's just
Yeah,
like, mm, eh. So
a little too cute.
what we think is the golden boy and Ben Johnson, that gold just might be pyrite.
Oh,
I and you have the Bears who have a history of messing absolutely everything up. Uh, it looks good on paper, but I have a feeling this is going to crash and burn, and this is going to crash hard again. Eh, 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 eh.
And fair enough, fair enough. Is it so? My question to you then, and I'm not necessarily pushing back. My question to you then: do you think it's working right now with Miami and Coach McDaniel? Do you think he's proven himself to be a competent enough head coach or no?
Yes, I think Mike McDaniel is a better coach than what I expected. Um, he's very, very quirky, but you don't let the anomaly make the rule. I think Mike McDaniel is one of those anomalies where, yeah, he's quirky, but it works. And I don't know how, but it works. And quite honestly, Miami is one good quarterback, and it's not a knock on Tua, it's just the reality. They're one good quarterback away from being able to run with Buffalo with everything that they have on, especially on offense. They're um a, a veteran quarterback, might have been around the league a few, has that last bit of life. I think you insert a quarterback like that, like a Aaron Rodgers maybe, then we're cooking with something. Or a Sam Darnold, we're cooking. But yeah, I think I see what you're saying, but I think Mike McDaniel's an anomaly. He's not the rule.
Well, though you don't see what I'm saying because I disagree with you. I think that this has found a very clear, defined ceiling with Coach McDaniel, and I think in terms of it working, I think we see what the limit is of the Miami team. And does it probably end up being closer to that, where like you're flirting with the playoff position, but when push comes to shove against a good team against the playoffs, I right, it's very clear that there's just too much of a gap. So it depends on what you mean, I guess, by working. You know what I mean? So that's why I asked you how you would evaluate Coach McDaniel.
I I get what you're saying, but you also have to remember he's going up against Buffalo. He's going up against Kansas City with a water gun. Tua cannot run with Josh Allen. He cannot run with Patrick Mahomes. You're fighting a major uphill battle, and it's it's just not it's Mike McDaniel can be put in a better situation to win with a better quarterback. And quite frankly, there's quarterbacks in this draft where if you plug them into Miami, then could be rocking.
The reason I don't view it that way is because Coach McDaniel put himself in this position. He's the one who went all in on Tua, and he's the one who's really making sure that the resources are allocated a certain way, and they're just not soft, or they're too soft. They're not hard enough come those winter months, and that's the reality of it. They're very weak when it comes against in those bigger fights on both sides of the ball. So that's why for me, yeah, I agree with you in terms of your evaluation of Tua. I'm there. I'm there. But that's part of the Coach McDaniel's design. He feels like he can out scheme the other. He feels like he can outflash the other team against these heavyweights. So I put yeah, yeah, he does have
And
a bad luck of the draw right now, but he's causing the luck.
I mean, in that situation, I think McDaniels feels more like he has to, just because he's got Tua. He he's he's got to be a little bit more outside the box and be a little bit cuter because you don't have that big strong arm quarterback. You essentially have a poor man's Drew Brees in Tua. That's just the reality. I think he feels more like he has to do that, where Ben Johnson, he doesn't have to do that. Uh, Jared Goff is a top five quarterback in this league, and he's got the most to work with in Detroit and two phenomenal wide receivers, a tremendous tight end, and two of the best running backs in the league with a great O line. Miami, they got two great receivers, and then nothing. So Mike McDaniels has to be cute. Ben Johnson is choosing to be cute. That if that makes sense.
No, no, because Coach McDaniel has made it very clear that he's the one who's pushed for Tua this entire time, and why they're staying with them. That it's been him all along. The organization wanted to go a different direction, but he took it upon himself to convince everyone else to stick with Tua and to go with Tua in the first place. And so what I'm saying is that's a mindset. That is your personality as a coach that translates on the field, not just on the field, but also in other decision making. And so the concerns that you had in your opening thing here about Ben Johnson, I think will end up being reflected
Yeah.
in Coach McDaniel.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
I flipped what I said, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I know. I got you. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't pay that close attention as far as like who wants what. I just kind of look at what I see on the field as far as
Fair,
anybody outside of the Patriots.
fair.
And yeah, if McDaniels is pushing for Tua, then yeah, that's his stupidity. So, um, moving on to another favorite for fans, the Jets hire yet another defensive-minded coach, Aaron Glenn, a second homecoming in the AFC East. What do you think about this homecoming game?
I like this a lot, and I understand the Jets are the Jets, and they haven't seen a whole lot of success, and whatever's going to go wrong will probably go wrong. But if it's going to go right, if this team is going to see a semblance of success, I really like bringing in Coach Glenn here. Not just because he's a former Jet, but because I think he brings the exact thing that the Jets have been missing. A little bit of toughness, one central voice, and I firmly believe, and I understand that I'm going on a limb. I think that if he shows that he's buttoned up, that he has control of the locker room, I think that that would be enough for Woody Johnson to stay enough out of his way so that we can see the most potential out of this Jets team. They have plenty of good pieces on defense. Not a problem there. His first battle is going to be what to do with Aaron Rodgers, but I'm really hoping that Woody Johnson allows his new coach, allows his former players, someone he's close with. I really hope that he allows him to just do what he can do best in what is still, let's admit this, not a great situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think Glenn's a good coach. He did a tremendous job this year, especially when the injuries started piling up. I mean, he he had to be perfect, and for the most part, he was. This situation, uh, you got a meddling, dementia-riddled owner, which that segment's going to be coming up later,
Dylan.
who who thinks he's the smartest guy in the room when he's quite frankly the clown. And on top of all that, as I have said over and over, not just on here, but on your show, on Curious Sports Pulse on X, you don't, if you're in that bad of a situation, you don't want to have a first-time head coach, especially when you don't have a quarterback, especially when that new coach is on the defensive side of the ball. And this is another recipe for disaster. And well, it's been a good run for Mr. Glenn, but we'll be back here in 3 years talking about a head coaching vacancy in New York. I, I mean, it's just the reality of it. I mean, you're you're in a division where you're going to be going up against Josh Allen and Sean McDermott twice a year for the next 10 years. You're in a division where you're going to be going up against Mike Vrabel and Drake May two times for the next 20 years. And Miami is, they're not going to be a slouch, especially compared to the Jets. And it's it's a bad situation, and it's only going to get exacerbated by the inner politics of the Jets, which is what Woody Johnson wants, what he gets. I mean, there's a reason why the only thing shorter than Tom Brady's first retirement was Bill Belichick's run as the head coach of the New York Jets.
Yes.
So the next coach, the next franchise, this one this one might be my favorite situation of all of them, and and a part of it is because of the drama around it. But Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator for the Bucks, goes to the Jags to be the next head football coach, and this may be one of the greatest moments in the actually no, it's not one of it's the greatest moment in the history of the Jacksonville Jaguars because it got Trent Baalke out of the building once and for all. Gabe, what say you?
I mean, what the hell was this? This was a soap opera and a half. Good for Coach Co. I'm happy for him. It's awesome when people get a promotion. So root for you, Coach. You got this. I don't think it matters too hell of a whole lot because I'm not high on Trevor Lawrence either way. So just like what you said with Coach Glenn and the Jets, I'm gonna steal that, but I'm gonna lower the time. We'll be back here in a year and a half.
Oh boy. Oh, you're not even given 2 full years.
No.
Oh my. Uh, here's the thing. Um, he Liam fits a lot of the criteria, and I'm still a big fan of football Jesus Trevor Lawrence. I, I still firmly believe that Trevor Lawrence can be a top five quarterback in this league when given the right situation. And with what Cohen's done with this Bucks offense, and granted, there's a lot of good pieces around it. Cohen was doing a lot with Baker Mayfield, who is a B to B plus quarterback on his best days. And to be able to go back to back in the NFC South to have and to have Baker be as productive as he's been, I and now you're going to a quarterback who actually has top five potential talent in this league, and you were able to get the Jaguars jester out of the building, and everything's going to be coming your way. And what in the world? Did you thumbs up
I
me?
might have thumped up.
I don't know. I got
I
this
didn't
weird
mean to.
reaction thing.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's staying in, by the way. I'm not doing that kind of editing. I'm too lazy for that. But and I mean, if all else fails, you at least got the clown idiot out of the building. You at least got Bulky out of the building, and for for Shad Khan to make that kind of move, to choose a guy who's not even in the building over a guy who he's held on to like Bulky's got some sort of dirt on him is it really says a lot. And and I'm hesitant to say that it's a guaranteed success given that how committed Khan is to Cohen because I see how his son operates in AEW and it's not great and how the Jags have been the entire time that Khan's been running the show and for the most part it hasn't been great. But this could be the start of something special in Duval.
I I don't know too much about the wrestling side of things, but everyone who I've listened to, including you, they keep drawing comparisons between the two situations, and I see what's happened with Khan here and the Jaguars, and I have zero to little hope that this resolves in a good way. Like, are we talking playoffs here? I don't think so. But you're high on football, Jesus. You're high on football, Jesus. So if it's gonna work, good for them. But yeah, definitely the addition by subtraction. That's definitely the best aspect of this for Duval.
Yeah, yeah, and eventually one of these days we'll sit down and talk about why these comparisons are made because they're run very similarly and but nonetheless the the my favorite part was the Jaguars literally snuck into Tampa Bay, it, pseudo kidnapped him, brought him back to Duval, and wouldn't let him leave unless he signed a contract.
Good.
That's how you get a coach right there.
Yeah, good.
So that's actually how I got a prom date one time, but that's a different
Oh
story.
my God. You just admitted this.
For legal reasons, that is a joke.
Right on.
Uh, now the the one that I really got blindsided on because I had been off I had been off X the last number of days and haven't really paid that close attention to what was going on in this particular area because you just kind of walk by garbage and don't acknowledge it, and then all of a sudden you see something shiny there. Oh my God, it's Pete Carroll. He's going to Vegas, baby. Uh, what's your reaction to that? The silver and gold and a little extra silver.
Oh my goodness. That's a decent analogy there, Dylan. I like it. I like it. I don't mind this hire. I don't know who else they could have gone at this point anyway, because everyone was taken. So I don't mind this as like a caretaker head coaching move. And again, kind of like what I'm looking for from Coach Glenn over in New York, just someone buttoned up, someone knows what they're doing, a little toughness. I think that the Raiders are better off now, moving on from Coach Pierce. So yeah, this is a fine hire. It's a 3-year deal. If it's a total disaster, you move on from it, fine. If not, I think you get a more solid foundation for whoever the next person is, who you then hope to be your coach for the franchise for a number of years. So I like this. I like this a lot, Dylan.
This was Mark Davis taking a step back and saying, Mr. Brady, you make the call here. We believe in you. And in came Pete Carroll. And if Mike Vrabel is a home run ball, if in your opinion Ben Johnson is a home run ball, this is a grand salami down by three in the bottom of the ninth, and Mariano Rivera is on the mound.
Nice.
This this move is going to save the Raiders franchise. You are in the toughest division in football. You are going up against Andy Reid twice a year. You're going up against Jim Harbaugh twice a year. You're going up against Sean Payton twice a year. I mean, You have to go out and get a big gun and leave leave it to the Raiders to go out and get a bazooka for this fight. And the AFC West is officially the most interesting division in football now because you have
Oh yeah.
the two of the greatest offensive minds in NFL history, in Sean Payton and Patrick Mahomes. You have the greatest coaching rivalry, one of the greatest coaching rivalries in football since Woody and Bo, in Harbaugh and Carroll. And man, I'm hyped for what's going on in the West. This was a home run ball. I'm really interested to see who the Raiders bring in. I think I do think Russell Wilson is a serious possibility now
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because the being in the West, it's going to suit him a little bit more than being in the cold, frigid Pittsburgh in January. And Pete Carroll's going to bring in really good coaches as well. I mean, you, we talked a little bit about this in well, we talked a little bit about this, but good coaches bring in good coaches. They track good coaches, and we're seeing that once again with Robert Saleh going to San Francisco to be the DC. And
Yeah.
and the 49ers are going to be all right again. And that this is a home run ball for the Raiders. I can't express that enough. You needed somebody to build a foundation, and you got the best contractor in the country.
That's a great analogy for it, right? Because no one's expecting him to be here for the next 5, 10 years. But for now, this stables the ship. I absolutely agree with that. And I think too many people are making a lot of his age anyway, because he looks really fit, and more importantly, he still has a whole lot of energy and sharp mind, football mind. So anyone who's kind of being a naysayer, anyone who's kind of poo-pooing this, saying, well, he's old, he's however whatever his age is, it doesn't matter. Players just want to be with someone who knows what they're doing, who can help them get better, can put the team in a position to win. And check, check, check. Pete Carroll does that for the Raiders. Do the Raiders now have the roster? As of right now, no. But like you said, maybe the Russell Wilson is a thing. And for sure, I think other players, and let's include Max Crosby in this, will be A, more willing to stay, or B, willing to come to Las Vegas, knowing that it's someone proven who can potentially get them back to a winning football program here in Las Vegas.
And at the end of the day, everybody wants to go to Vegas anyway. And if you just so ha and if you just so happen to get to work there, that's just icing on the cake.
Bonus.
I mean, where would you rather go in January? Would you rather go to Pittsburgh or Las Vegas?
Yeah, yeah, not a trick question.
Yeah. So, and now you can actually be successful in Vegas on the gridiron and actually be the home team.
Right. Oh,
And now we have the Cleveland Brown. Oh, sorry, the Dallas Cowboys. Get those mixed up nowadays. The Dallas Cowboys have officially hired Brian Schottenheimer. Um, from everything I've heard, this is 100% a Jerry Jones call. He has completely locked out Stephen Jones and everybody else. Um, I can my only the only thing I can think of on how this happened is Jerry thought it was the old Chargers coach, Marty Schottenheimer. who took the Chargers to 14-2 and nearly beat the Patriots in the playoffs. I, that's the only thing I could come up with. Um, I, Gabe, you got anything to add on to that?
I mean, what do you want from me? Doesn't inspire confidence. You go from potentially Deion Sanders, which I honestly would not have loved that, me personally, but I would have felt better about that than this. It was who's inspired? Who's like, yes, they nailed it. And case in point, this news broke around 9 p.m. our time, Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, Jerry Jones isn't proud of this. He knows that this is a hire because it's someone who will just who who won't push back against him. He knows it's someone who won't take the air off the room for him. He knows that he gets to still run the show. So good for him. It's his organization, his franchise. And to boot, you also get the double whammy if you're a Cowboys fan that Matt Eberflus is going to be running the defense now. So GG's. I feel bad for you if you're a Dallas fan, but then I don't.
So I was listening to the herd, and they were talking about how Brian Schottenheimer is probably going to be the coach, and that like this is like DEF CON 9, red alert, not going well. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, there is that weird clause in the Belichick contract, and we had heard that like Belichick was really interested in coming back into the NFL. He's got a quarterback in place. The defense is always fixable. You already got CeeDee Lamb. So the wide receiver core is stitched up. And Jerry may just finally be playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. And I'm
That'd be
thinking,
incredible.
and I'm thinking this actually works out perfectly because Jerry likes doing things himself. The draft would come and go. Jerry would have full, unfeathered control over everything that happens, and he likes that. And then he'd be able to go in and hire Bill Belichick. I'm thinking there's a half decent chance that he's playing chess. And then this news dropping like, oh, never mind.
Nope.
Nope. Jerry is too busy getting confused by a four-piece puzzle. I mean,
Do you do the
my
corners first?
he was trying to get the middle one.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just like, you are a $7 billion organization. You are the most recognizable team in the history of the NFL. Maybe outside the Packers, but either way, you are not just nationally famous, world famous.
Oh yeah.
And your best option that you could find was a guy who has an uncanny ability as an offensive coordinator to make good offenses suck. This dude has been canned everywhere he has gone. He, he made Drew Brees look like not a Hall of Famer. He has averaged he at best his offenses are 28th in the country or 28th in the league at best. And you hired and Jerry Jones hired the offensive coordinator who doesn't call the plays because he's not good enough to call the plays. Uh, how? How? Jerry Jones is so disconnected. It's not even funny. And that slip in the bathroom that I talked about on your show on Curious Sports Pulse on X and Twitch. Boy, I can't come soon enough for Cowboys fans.
I, I can't follow along with you there for obvious for juju reasons, but but I mean, Dylan, in unison, all Cowboys fans rushed to the platform of their choice and collectively went, "No, there was hope. There was hope." Would you have been more in favor if they had hired Deion Sanders? I would have. I think that right. You see something of a vision. It's like, okay, there's a chance that this could work. I didn't think that they'd be able to pair him with Shadur, but either way, right, I would have been okay with Dion, but this inspires zero confidence. Why did he get let go from those prior places? The play calling got stale, became very predictable, and this Schottenheim coach Schottenheimer thought it would, thought he didn't need to change, thought it would still work. So maybe that's what Dak needs. I'll play devil's advocate for a half second. Maybe that's what Dak Prescott needs is a very simplistic offense that can be predictable for him. But for a quarterback who has an inherently low ceiling anyway, great. You're just doubling down on that. So even if they were to somehow talent their way into the playoffs, they're for sure not getting over the hump.
Uh, giving them a playoff shot is generous at this point. If
Right.
I mean, if I'm back, if I'm CeeDee Lamb, if I'm Micah Parsons, I'm stomping into Jerry Jones' office. Get me out of here now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Now. I'm not wasting my career while you're out here trying to have a power trip. And, and it, my God, like it. And I thought under oh the former skins coach, the former um
Rivera?
no or not coach, owner, uh
Oh, Dan Snyder.
yeah, who like to change the team name every 3 years. I thought that was a dysfunctional mess. The Cowboys were just like, hold my beer, because this is like, wow. It, I can't believe the incompetence here. Um, yeah, absolutely insane. So now that we have all of the filled up coaching vacancies talked about, there is one more left that has yet to be filled. Unless there's news broke that since we started. Has any news broke?
No, Dylan is still on camera, and I still have a red hat.
And the Saints head coaching spot is still vacant. I'm waiting for the call. And when I get the
Right
job,
back you.
and when I get the job, Gabe,
Mhm.
you will not be a first call.
Fair. That's fair.
So who's left that's out there that would be brave enough to try to make the Saints great again?
Well, I can tell you, Kellen Moore is still available. Leslie Frazier is still available. Deion Sanders is still available. I know because those were the finalists for the Cowboys. But yeah, kidding aside, I don't. The pick of the litter is gone. It's not a great situation anyway. So I don't know. I think if you're the Saints, you do a punt hire. Just hire from within someone who you want to let go anyway. Hire from within. Punt on this year. Tankathon again. Just do it better and wait for the next coaching cycle. That's what I personally would do.
I think the Saints have their guy in mind, and that might be why he didn't become the head coach of the Cowboys, because it would make a lot more sense if it was this guy. But I think the Saints already made up their mind, and I think it's going to be Kellen Moore. Uh,
Oh,
I I, Kellen Moore is a good offensive coordinator. He's a very smart
Damn.
guy. He's been battle tested and being forced to deal with Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, and Jerry Jones, and now Jalen Hurts, and the and having to make Nick Sirianni look like he knows what he's doing. And I I think if there's anybody left that can make the Saints viable, it is Kellen Moore or the Denver Broncos say, I want takesies backsies, which I don't know if that's legally defined in Peyton's contract. I doubt it, but I think Kellen Moore is going to be the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints.
I don't, because you need a leader of men to be your NFL head coach, which is ultimately what you and I were basically saying in terms of the quirkiness aspect of Coach McDaniel and now Ben Johnson. So while I think it stands a chance of working possibly in Chicago, um, I don't think Kellen Moore can be the leader of men. He can be a leader, and I think he's done okay in his role with the Cowboys. I think he's done okay this year with the Eagles. I will say the passing attack largely hasn't been there for the Eagles in a lot of games. Now where do you put the blame or why? We can discuss that another day. Certainly, I don't think he's a guy who can stand in front of the entire locker room. I think he can lead the offensive meetings. I think that he's proven, but I wouldn't like that for the Saints. But I don't mind you. I don't mind you calling your shot here. I don't mind it at all, Dylan.
He was able to do it in college as a quarterback, although only being like 4'5". But in all seriousness, I think he has the capability of being that.
Mhm.
Obviously, the Saint going to the Saints, it's going to be really rough sledding. You're going to have to build through the draft. You're going to have to develop players because you don't have the coin to go out and get free agents. And it's going to be tough sledding. But if there's anybody left that can pull it off, it's going to be Kellen Moore. And and I've I wanted Kellen Moore to be the guy. If I was a Cowboys fan, I would have wanted Kellen Moore to be the guy to take the reins after they finally got Jason Garrett out of town. And then Jerry started being Jerry again and told him to leave town, and he was like, gimme. And
And that quote.
a actual quote, gimme. A- And Kellen Moore is coaching this weekend. The Dallas Cowboys are calling certain helplines to talk them out of taking a bath with a toaster. You're taking Cowboys fans' shoelaces.
Do you enjoy making me squirm on camera? Is that what this
Yes.
is about?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Oh.
Mission succeeded.
Oh, no wonder the ratings keep dropping. Oh, anything you want to add to this fun coaching carousel we've been on?
No, it's crazy that Look, notice I said no, and now I automatically have something else to add, so my bad. But either way, notice how we're not even in the off season. We have a whole AFC NFC championship. We have a whole Super Bowl to play, and it's already been an exciting off season. So more is going to come. There's going to be more moves made, waiting for the draft, and the NFL is the gift that keeps on giving. Can't wait to discuss more of it with you here, Dylan. So thanks for having me on here.
It's a pleasure. It's always nice to drag you out of bed at 2 o'clock in the morning to talk football.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Eh, I don't know if you gave I think you might have gave the time earlier away, but yeah, whatever. They don't know what time. They don't know. But no, nonetheless, yeah, it's gonna be a fun year. It's gonna be a fun off season. It's gonna be a fun racing season, and we are officially entering season 9 of the Donald Trump experience. So Gabe, thanks for coming. I greatly appreciate it. And then for all you out there who are watching on YouTube, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Rumble, make sure to like and follow. And if you're watching on the X, make sure to like and retweet and share with all your friends. And if you're watching on, and if, well, you wouldn't be able to watch a podcast, but if you're listening on the podcast, iHeart, Spotify, all the major podcasting platforms, make sure to hit the download and follow. Really need those numbers to go up so I can get people to like me. But because nobody seems to like me. But anyway, you don't have to agree, Gabe. Jeez, big meanie. All right. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on Patriot Dylan. That's Gabe of Curious Sports Pulse on X and Twitch. We'll see you next time.